Words of Sri Aurobindo from the book The Mother, Part 2, Letters on the Mother by Our Lord, Chapter 11, Some Explanations, page 375. Topic: Trick of Reversing the Consciousness. Sri Aurobindo says, when the mother said it was just a trick of reversing the consciousness, she meant that instead of allowing always the external mind to interfere and assert its own ordinary, customary point of view, it should turn itself round, admit that things may work from in outwards, and keep itself sufficiently quiet to see that developing and being done. For then an inner mind shows itself which is capable of following and being the instrument of the invisible forces. Date 2nd August 1932. Next topic: feeling of shock in exteriorization. Sri Aurobindo says, a feeling like that of the shock and the stopping of the breath for a second, and as if of falling down, comes to many when the consciousness for a moment or a longer time exteriorizes itself, goes out of the body. The shock comes from the going up of the consciousness or from the return into the body. The mother used to have that hundreds of times. It is not anything physical. The doctor, as you say, found nothing. When this moment of the consciousness is more normal, the feeling will probably disappear. Date 1st October 1935. Next topic: numerical harmonies in the mother's accounts. Question: X showed me his account book today, in which the total was rupees 7 as 7 paisa. It was also the 7th day of the 7th month of the year, and after I decided to write to you about this, I saw that the house where I was working had also the number 7. Elsewhere, one does not come across such a play of numbers. I think it occurs here because the numbers, perhaps the occult beings of numbers, feel at ease in our atmosphere like the sparrows in the main ashram building, and too like to play in such harmonies. In government departments and other places, they feel the atmosphere mechanical, heavy, and rigorous, so they do not find any joy in such a play. For the Sri Aurobindo says, I suppose your explanation is correct, at least from the occult point of view. The mother is always having these numerical harmonies in her accounts. Date 7th July 1936. Giving names to cats. The mother, says Sri Aurobindo, the mother gave names for cats because they understand and answer. She has never given any for birds and do not wish to do it. But now even for cats she is not giving names. Date 28th April 1932. Next topic: action of medicines on the mother's body. Sri Aurobindo says medicines have quite a different action on the mother's body than they would have on yours or X or anybody else, and the reaction is not usually favorable. Her physical consciousness is not same as that of the ordinary people, though even in the ordinary people it is not so identical in all cases as science would have always believed. Date 1st Feb 1937. Next topic: the mother's view on medical matters. Sri Aurobindo says, What the mother says in the matter is what she said to Dr. X with his entire agreement, that is, reading from symptoms by the doctors is usually mere balancing between the possibilities, of course, except in clear and simple cases, and the conclusion is a guess. It may be a right guess and then it'll be all right, or it may be a wrong guess and then all will be wrong unless nature is too strong for the doctor and overcomes the consequence of his error, or at the least, the treatment will be ineffective. On the contrary, if one develops the diagnostic flair, one can see at once what is the real thing among the possibilities and see what is to be done. That is what the most successful doctors have. They have this flashlight which shows them the true point. X agreed and said that the cause of the guessing was that there were a whole set of symptoms which could belong to any one of several diseases, and to decide is a most delicate and subtle business. No amount of book knowledge or reasoning will ensure a right decision. A special insight is needed that looks through the symptoms and not merely look at them. This last sentence, by the way, is my own, not X. About development of intuition afterwards. No time tonight. Date 6th April Sri Aurobindo says it is 1937. No use discussing these matters. The mother's views are too far removed from the traditional nostrums to be understood by a medical mind, except those that have got out of the traditional groove, or those who, after long experience, have seen things and can become devastatingly frank about the limitations of their own science. Ideas differ. Both the mother and ex were horrified at the idea of a child of 4 months being given a purgative. The leading children's doctor in France told the mother no child under 12 months should be given a purgative, as it is likely to go great harm and may be dangerous. But here we understand it is a practice to dose the children freely with purgatives from their day of the birth almost. Perhaps that and over administration of the medicines is the cause of excessive infant mortality. Date 4th April 1937. Sri Aurobindo says all science does not recommend castor oil for children. I think it is the 19th century fad which has prolonged itself. The mother's children's doctor told her that it should not be done. Also, in her own case, when a child, the doctors entirely stopped it on the ground, that would spoil the stomach and liver. I suppose you will say doctors disagree. They do. Date 9th April 1937. Mother meant that wrong food and the poisons created by wrong assimilations were a great obstacle to the prolongation of life. Date 14th Jan 1935. Question. The mother once said that there is hardly a disease that cannot be cured by yoga. Can cancer be cured by it? For the Sri Aurobindo says, of course it can, but on the condition of faith or openness or both. Even a mental suggestion can cure cancer, with luck, of course, as is shown by the case of the woman operated on unsuccessfully for cancer, but the doctors lied and told her that it had been succeeded. Result: cancer symptoms all ceased and she died many years afterwards of another illness altogether. Date 11th October 1935. Millennium without hospitals. Question. I dreamt that the mother is building a very big hospital. Dream of a millennium in advance? For the Sri Aurobindo says it would be more of a millennium if there were no need of a hospital at all and the doctors turned their injection or the injective prodding instruments into fountain pens, provided, of course, they did not make misuse of the pens also. Next question. Why furious about injective instruments, sir? They're supposed to be very effective. For this, Sri Aurobindo says that does not make an increase of hospitals, illness, and injections the ideal of a millennium. Question. But why the deuce are those instruments to be replaced by fountain pens? For this, Sri Aurobindo says, I was simply adopting the saying of the Isaiah the prophet, the swords will be turned into plowshares. But the doctor's instrument is not big enough for a plowshare, so I substituted it with a fountain pen. Date 19th July 1937. With this, we will be completing this book of the book The Mother by our Lord. From tomorrow, we will be working on another book, The Mother, Words of our Divine Mother, from the book Rays of Light, and of course, about yoga.